What better way to end the year and head into 2022 than by starting a brand new investing series? Well, I could probably think of a few different ways, but you can at least pretend to be excited. Going into 2022, I want to share with you an investing journey where I'll basically be starting from scratch with InvestEngine and documenting my entire investing process. Because whilst it is important to learn about different topics and different strategies, sometimes the best way to learn about investing is by watching the actual practical side of investing. So not only will I be showing portfolio updates, I'll also be documenting my attitude towards investing in that month, which should hopefully be based on the state of the markets at that time. This is going to be especially interesting when the next bear market eventually arrives, because you'll see the damage, you'll see my suffering, but hopefully we can weather the storm together. There are a few different sections that I want to include in each video, but at the same time I don't want it to be too rigid, because I want to make sure that each monthly video is as interesting as possible. One thing that I do want to point out is that in the description of all of my videos, I've got a referral link for InvestEngine that you can use to sign up. If you do choose to sign up and register an account, then you will be rewarded £50 for doing so. Just bear in mind that you do need to invest £100 yourself within 30 days to keep that £50, but either way, it's not a bad deal. For transparency, if you follow that link and sign up and register your account, I'll also get £50, but don't worry, I won't let it go to waste. All of the money that I receive from sign-ups is going to be reinvested back into this series. So when you do sign up, not only do you get a free 50 quid, you also make the series that much tastier. Now, before we reveal the portfolio that I'll be investing in, I first want to kick this one off with a bit of a roundup of the markets this year. In general, the global markets have had another strong year, which has extended the massive stretch of returns that we've seen since the global financial crisis. VWRL, which is Vanguard's FTSE All World ETF, is up around 27% year to date. On reflection, there wasn't really any point in the year that saw a significant drop in returns. Some areas in January, March, July and September looked a little shaky, but the market's always bounced back. I know I've said this before, but the amount of people that I heard this time last year saying that they were holding cash waiting for a market correction, I hope you're not too fed up. Whilst yeah, it may be easy for me to say that in hindsight, knowing that the markets have just had another great year, but holding cash waiting for a correction is never really considered to be a good investing strategy. Since 1950, the S&P 500 has spent 20% of the time trading within 1% of the all-time trading high. Investing at the top of the market is not an unusual thing. This graph shows the returns of investing cash on a random day compared to investing at an all-time high. Shockingly, investing at all-time highs actually provided larger returns across the board for 1, 3 and 5 year returns. The S&P 500 also had a strong year, up around 29% year to date, which is a few percent more than the global markets. The FTSE 100 did not share the same success, as it is only up 12% year to date. But at least it's not as bad as the emerging markets, which we saw last week is actually down a few percent for the year. This Financial Times article pointed out that global bonds are on course for the worst year since 1999. They include this graph that shows yearly bond returns since 1990. In 1999, bond returns were less than 5% as investors fled from the bond market to invest in the booming tech industry. This year, the story is a bit different, with inflation being the main culprit. US inflation reached a whopping 6.8% in November of this year, whilst inflation in the UK was at 5.1%. In response to this, the Bank of England raised the interest rates to a mind-boggling 0.25%. Well, your money is still dead in the bank, so as equity investors, this doesn't really change much for us. We should just keep our heads down and stick to the plan. If you do have a significant allocation to bonds in your portfolio, it's probably going to be a tough few months. But at the same time, I would urge you to remind yourself of why you actually hold bonds in the first place. Bonds are there to manage risk, not to earn returns. When interest rates eventually fall again, you'll probably benefit from this, so your time will come. Before we do jump on the InvestEngine platform and take a look at the portfolio, I first just want to have a quick chat about the channel. So we are just over a year old now and are hopefully on track to reach 1500 subs by 2022, which is pretty mental. I just want to give a massive thank you to anybody who's ever watched, liked or commented on a video, because me and my brother who work on the channel, we love what we do, and it honestly wouldn't mean anything if it weren't for you lot. I think I've said this before, but before starting YouTube, I don't think I'd ever even consider following or even subscribing to a channel with 1,000 subscribers. Never mind watching one of the videos. In fact, I don't think I'd even seen a channel with 1,000 subscribers. So to everybody, just thank you. We're going to be working extra hard in January and we're going to try and push for 2 videos a week, just to see how it goes, and then we'll see where we can go from there. I'm always dropping polls after videos come out, asking about topics or even what you want to see in terms of content, so if you do want to have any input on the direction of the channel, just let us know on there. Also, my New Year's resolution is to keep on top of Instagram, so if you're not following us on there already, make sure to do it at IQ Investing UK. I'm going to try and post on there every week and just keep you updated on what I'm working on. And now finally, onto InvestEngine. And I've not actually made a video on this platform directly since the first one, which was sometime in October. There have been a couple of quality of life updates since then. One of which is that you can see a quick return overview whilst you're on the dashboard page, which is a nice touch. Also, one that we discussed before is that they've added a filter function on the ETF search page, meaning that you can filter funds by asset class, accumulation or distribution, hedged or unhedged, and ESG. This is going to make it that much easier when you're trying to find the fund that you're looking for. But at the same time, I do think that this does have some way to go. It would be nice if you could filter each of the funds based on the geographical region or market sector. So you could easily compare, let's say, the best emerging markets fund, instead of having to scroll through the entire list. If there are any other features that you'd like to see added to the platform, I'd recommend that you just let them know through the live chat function. Through our feedback, the platform will get better. So now to the portfolio, which may have been spoiled a little earlier. It is a nice and simple 2-fund global ESG portfolio. You can see that since opening this portfolio in October, we are up a few percent. Although admittedly, I have made some changes since then. I was complicating it with a small emerging markets tilt and then a small UK tilt. But then, after reading that Vanguard paper last week, I realised that this was pointless. By adding these small tilts, I was adding a little bit of uncertainty into my mind. I wasn't 100% confident in these tilts and I wanted to change the allocations all the time. So I decided to cut out the tilts altogether and just select an emerging markets fund and a developed world fund and let that be that. The two funds are both iShares funds that are ESG screened, with an 88% allocation to the developed world fund and a 12% allocation to the emerging markets fund. The reason that I chose these funds is simply because they seem to be the best ESG emerging markets and developed world funds that I've found. The developed world fund invests in over 1,000 stocks with an ongoing charge of 0.2%, whilst the emerging markets fund invests in around 1,700 stocks with an ongoing charge of 0.18%. This means that the portfolio includes around 2,750 stocks, and it has an average ongoing charge of 0.198%. For an ESG portfolio, this does seem pretty reasonable, but I would like to try and get these costs down a little bit further in the future if other funds become available. You can see that all of the gains have come from the developed world fund, with the emerging markets fund actually down a few percent. For me, this doesn't really change much. It's not going to make me alter my allocations because I'm sure the emerging markets are going to have their time eventually. One thing to note is that it shows the actual allocation to each fund compared to the target allocation. As the emerging markets has done poorly, the allocation has fallen to 11.9%. with the other fund rising to 88.1%. Again, this is fine with me right now, but if the value does stray too far, I'll probably just use the rebalance function on the website just to get it back on track. You can do this by clicking on Options, Rebalance Portfolio, and it'll show you the transaction that will be requested. To round off this update, I think it's only fair that I show some commitment to the series, so I'm going to be investing some money in this portfolio just to get us started. As I'm writing this, it's a provisional bank holiday, and I've recently had to change my bank details on the site, which haven't yet been approved, so I can't actually upload the money right away. Hopefully by the time I'm editing this, the money is on the site and I've invested it, and I can show you that on screen I'll be investing £350 to take the total amount up to around 500 quid. So admittedly, we're starting off with quite a humble amount in this series, but as I said earlier, that's the point. I want this series to run for years hopefully, so that I can show you that it's possible to grow an investing account starting from scratch, and let's see how far we can take it. Now finally, I want to end this video with a new section, which I think will be a great way to get you lot involved in the series just that little bit more. For those of you that do sign up to InvestEngine using the link below, or to those who even use it already, I propose to you a challenge. I'd like you to send me through your own portfolios, or even just to go on InvestEngine and make up a dream portfolio and send me the details. You can either do this through Instagram at IQ Investing UK, or you can just drop it in a comment below. Just tell me the funds you invest in, your allocations towards them, and maybe even your thinking behind the portfolio. Then, each month, I'm going to select a portfolio of the month, which is basically going to be my favourite portfolio that I've seen. I'll be choosing them based on a range of factors, from lowest costs, best diversification, most unique. Just show me what you got. I'll then create the portfolio on InvestEngine, include it in the next video with a little discussion and analysis, and of course, give you a shout out. Then, to top it off, I'll send the person who made that portfolio £30 as a little reward. It's not much, I know, but hopefully we can get that amount up if the series is successful. We'll figure out a way to get that money through to you in the future. Maybe it'll be through private message on Instagram or something, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, let me know what you think of the idea. Hopefully it'll be a good way to get you lot involved a little bit more. And of course, don't forget to send me your portfolios. You've not got much notice this month, but if you could do me a favour and send them over by the 20th of January, then you got a chance to be in for the portfolio of the month next video. Any submissions after that, I'll just consider for the next month. For now, my simple 2-fund global ESG portfolio is the portfolio of the month. So you'll have to try and top that. Well, I hope you enjoyed the new series. Let's just see where it goes, and if there are any topics that you'd like to see included in this monthly video, just let us know in the comments. Now, if you want to go into 2022 with the right investing mindset, then I recommend that you watch this video here, where we discuss how to get the maximum investing returns in 2022. And with that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next year. Have a good one.